1 year ago, I decided to start freelancing as a game developer. And today, I want to share with you how that journey looked like for me. So, let's get started. It was October of 2022, and I was about to finish my military service within 3 months. In each month, I had 10 days of vacation in which I was working as a full-time Unreal Engine developer. But I needed to make more money, and more importantly, I needed to gain more experience by working on video games, but this time with real clients on real projects. The problem was, I didn't know anything about freelancing. The first thing that I did is I started looking at different freelancing websites, which can be categorized into two categories. Ones where you go looking for clients, and the others where clients come looking for you. And since I had limited time within each month, I decided to go with the second type. Then I needed to determine what service am I going to provide to others and get paid for. In game development, you can do many things. You can work on fixing bugs of existing games. You can instruct others and teach them game development. You can work on finishing fully fledged and polished games, or you can work on small, rapid prototype. Since I didn't have much experience to start teaching others, and I do hate fixing bugs, and I didn't have much time to finish full games, I decided to go with making rapid prototypes, which is something I love and will allow me to learn a lot faster. So it was time to create my first service, which will contain a list of features I am providing, gallery of previous or sample work, different packages along with their delivery time and their pricing. The problem was I didn't know what to write, and I didn't have many projects to show and fill up my gallery with. And of course, I didn't know what are the list of features that I can provide for what prices. But I remember reading something along the lines of, if you don't know what to do, steal like an artist. And that's exactly what I did. I started looking at the services provided by other sellers in different levels. I looked at their descriptions, their thumbnails, the gallery of the previous work, the reviews of other customers, what made them stand out or didn't make them stand out. And I found out that the sellers that stood out the most had three key things. They showed up with the real identity, so they gained the trust of other buyers quickly. The second thing is that they had a very strong portfolio showing only high quality work. And the third thing is that the services that they provided were very niche and specialized. Unlike many sellers, they had multiple smaller services like I will make a puzzle system or a shooting game, which made them stand out quicker. And I'm sure that a buyer who is looking for such a system would prefer to work with someone who has a specialized service for it rather than a generic one. So I collected some footage from the previous personal projects that I had before, that I've developed during game jams or while following courses, and set up my prices to be just a little lower than average. And it was time to wait. I went back to the military and kept checking my email every 2 or 3 days. 1 week passed. 1 month passed. And not until the end of the second month that I finally got my first message. The client asked me, what can I get for $20? I want to see my model fighting in a fighting game. And I had two problems with that. The first problem is that I didn't know how to make an estimate for a game. What can be developed for $20 in the 10 days that I have? Because game development is not like other freelancing services. For example, a writer or a translator would charge a fixed price per word, and the video editor would charge a fixed price per minute. But for game development, it gets very tricky. Every feature is unique. Every feature will cost differently based on the time it will take, the effort it will take, and your willingness to do that feature. The second problem that I had is that I wasn't confident in making a fighting game. I haven't developed a fighting game before, but I have developed a combat system and I know how melee systems work. So what I did is that I started from the places that I didn't know anything about. I started looking at the systems that I didn't know how to develop in a fighting game. For example, I know that a fighting game would need an input buffering system, which is something that I didn't know how to develop, so I started from there. After some research, I started to gain more confidence that I can handle this project, and my imposter syndrome started to go away, and I gathered a list of features that can be involved in a fighting game and started writing down high-level code or pseudocode for each system, trying to understand how can I make that system based on the hours that I have every day. Then I came back to the client with this brief. After some negotiation, I was able to get the price up to $30, and I finally got my first order. I went back home, started the first project, and it was time for development. I kept working on the game early in the morning and after my day job, and I kept updating the client with my progression when I made any. And after the 7th or 8th day, the project was finished, and I was so excited to finally earn my first couple of dollars from freelancing. But the client had some changes. Fortunately for me, the changes weren't that much. He just needed to tweak some values, which I was able to finish within one day. And finally, I finished my first order, got my first couple of dollars from freelancing, and got my first 5-star review. Fast forward 2 months. The military year was over, and I had more time for freelance, and that's when things started to work out for me. I went from why nobody is messaging me to asking myself who should I work with and give my time to, and burned out from the flood of messages that I was getting. I worked on many projects with different clients from all over the world on different genres, and my confidence in my game development skills grew up a lot. My soft skills and time and project management skills also grew up a lot, and I was able to finish more than 15 orders, containing 5-star reviews, and doing this for 2 hours a day. Days in, days out, taking some breaks here and there. In 1 year, I was able to make more than $800. And yes, I know, this might sound like nothing, and to be honest, yes, it's nothing in a year. But when you think about it, the first 2 months I had 0 orders, and in the last 4 months of that year, I took many breaks, and I was doing this for 2 hours, some days in, some days out. So $800 for me is something acceptable. And I believe if someone does that full time, they can do what I did in 1 year in less than, let's say, 3 months. So what did I learn after that year? The first tip is that when you are starting out, prefer working on small projects that you are confident you can finish. Especially when you're starting out, things seem a little bit overwhelming, and longer projects will mostly get you burned out and not deliver on time, which is something that you don't want to do as you're starting out. The second tip, always aim to win the client, not the order. Many of the orders that I had were coming from returning clients, and that was a lot easier for me and them because we already knew how to work with each other, and communicating together was a lot easier. And a lot of the times we were working on the same projects which I knew already, and I didn't have to make a fresh or a new project. And doing well with those customers made them recommend me to other clients as well. The third tip is about requirements and estimates. This is a very tricky thing that I'm still struggling with and trying to get better at. Before starting with any order, make sure that you have the list of requirements clear. Some clients will make that very hard for you, while others will hand it to you very easily. Once you got that list of features, it's easier to estimate the time for it. But once you estimate that time, make sure you multiply it by a factor of 3 or 4. By that, you get extra time for errors, unexpected situations, your own rest and vacations, and client changes. And for cost, make sure that you don't only consider time as the only factor, but also effort, your willingness to do the task, and the website's cut. The fourth tip, and this is the most important tip in my opinion for any freelancer out there, and that is make sure you work on improving your soft skills. This is what really makes you stand out. A lot of sellers have good technical skills, and a lot of buyers prefer working with someone who is honest, replies on time, and respects their time, rather than someone who is a genius but is hard to work with. So be genuine, try to reply on time, and be honest with them no matter what. If something is gonna take longer, tell them so. If something you're not very confident about and you don't know how to develop exactly, tell them so. Show interest in their project. I remember one of the clients came to me and he wanted to develop a limbs dismemberment system. And he told me that he talked with other sellers who seemed more confident and can deliver in a faster time. But despite that, he chose to work with me because I showed interest in his project and they did. The fifth tip, and this is the second most important one after soft skills, which is project and time management skills. A lot of people burn out and try to hide this side, but this is one of the hardest challenges about freelancing. If you can manage your time and your projects very well, I guarantee you, you will survive in the long run, and freelancing will be much easier because you will work on many projects with multiple clients, ranging from 1 day or less to a couple of months. If you don't have a database of all your projects for each client, and within each project the task and resources needed for that project to finish, and what is your progression in that project, you will get lost and you will burn out very quickly. And about time management, make sure you block out time for your own rest and vacations, meetings and revision changes, planning new orders, working on developing existing orders, time for improving your skills, and time for promoting yourself and your services. The sixth and last tip, and that is just start out. You don't have much to lose. Everyone's experience is gonna be different. what might sound hard for me wouldn't be hard for you or would be different for you. And despite that, freelancing might sound overwhelming at the start, handling all those clients, projects and stuff like that. You don't need to care about all of that. Just start out and get to know what your experience will look like and determine based on that. So let's conclude. The advantages of freelancing are clear. Flexibility. Get to work with who you want, on what you want, and from where you want. And the second advantage is that there is no limits for growth, for both financial growth and technical growth. These advantages are also clear. This is a business, and like any other business, you wear lots of hats. You will work on marketing, advertisement, development, planning, and a lot of other stuff. If you don't improve your personal skills and your time and project management skills, this will be a lot harder for you. So whether freelancing is worth it or not is totally up for you to answer. But as a last tip, always aim to have multiple sources of income, as there is no source of income that is stable. Thank you for making it to the end of this video, and if you are interested in hearing more about freelancing, time management and project management for game development, please let me know in the comments below. This was Amr Hamid, and I shall see you in the next one.